podcasthero.com.
Picture this. You're interviewing a cryptocurrency expert next week, and Bitcoin has just hit an all-time high. Your guest will expect you to reference the latest market movements, regulatory news, and expert opinions. But everything researched a couple days ago is already outdated. You could spend hours hunting through news sites trying to figure out what's actually happening in the market now, or you could ask one question and get a comprehensive cited overview in 30 seconds. What if your research could be as current as this morning's headlines? Welcome back to PodTools, the podcast highlighting the best AI tools for podcasters. I'm Andrew McGivern, and today we're solving the problem of outdated research. The tools we've covered so far: ChatGPT for research shortcuts and NotebookLM for research organization. These are powerful tools, but they have one limitation. They work with information that already exists in your collection or in the training data. Today's tool, Perplexity AI, changes the game. It searches the internet in real time and gives you current cited answers to any question. Think of it as having a research assistant who never sleeps and always cites their sources. Imagine you're a business podcaster preparing for an interview about the latest changes in remote work policies. The landscape shifts constantly. There's new studies coming out, companies change policies, governments update regulations. With traditional research, you would be hunting through multiple news sites, trying to verify information and wondering if what you found a few hours ago is still accurate now. With Perplexity, you could ask, what are the latest developments in corporate remote work policies in 2025? And what do recent studies say about productivity impacts? In seconds, you get a comprehensive answer with links to sources published this week, this month, or even today. That's the difference between research that's comprehensive and research that's current. Perplexity has 3 advantages. 1, real-time data. 2, building on your questions to go deeper. And 3, citations. First, let's talk about Perplexity's superpower: real-time research. Unlike ChatGPT, which has a knowledge cutoff, or your NotebookLM collection, which only knows what you've fed it, Perplexity searches the current internet and gives you sourced answers. Here's how this transforms podcast prep. Instead of asking generic questions, you can ask time-sensitive ones. Like, what are the most recent criticisms of electric vehicle adoption and how are manufacturers responding? Or, what new AI regulations have been proposed in the last 30 days? And what do experts predict will happen? Perplexity doesn't just give you answers. It shows you exactly which articles, studies, and sources it pulled from. You can click through and verify everything, making your research both current and credible. This is especially powerful for topics that change rapidly, like technology, politics, health research, market trends, and breaking news in any industry. The second capability is building on your questions to go deeper. Here's where Perplexity gets really smart. After it answers your first question, it suggests related questions you might want to ask. This creates a research conversation that leads to insight you might not have thought to pursue. You might start with, what are the latest trends in podcast advertising? Perplexity gives you the answer, then suggests follow-up questions like, how are podcast ad rates changing compared to traditional media? Or, what new podcast advertising technologies are gaining traction? Each answer builds on the previous one, creating a research thread that's both comprehensive and current. It's like having a research conversation with someone who has instant access to everything published online. You can also ask comparative questions that would take hours to research manually. Like, how do different experts view the future of AI in education? Perplexity will synthesize multiple recent viewpoints and show you the sources for each perspective. And the third game changer I've already touched on, built-in credibility through citations. Every answer Perplexity gives you comes with numbered citations. You can see exactly which articles, studies, or sources it pulled from. This solves two major problems that podcasters face: credibility and fact-checking. When you're interviewing an expert, you can reference specific recent studies. I saw a study published last week in the Journal of Business Research that found blah, 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 and you'll have the exact citation ready. You can also ask Perplexity to focus on specific types of sources. What do recent peer-reviewed studies say about intermittent fasting? Or what are the latest government reports on renewable energy adoption? This is crucial for controversial or rapidly changing topics where accuracy matters. Instead of hoping your information is correct, you have traceable sources for everything you discuss. The citations also give you a reading list for deeper research. And, as we talked about last week with NotebookLM, if you have a renewable energy notebook and you get some good sources from Perplexity, just throw it in there. And that builds up your future podcast research library. If Perplexity mentions 5 different sources in its answer, you now have 5 starting points for more detailed investigation. Let me show you this in action with a concrete example. Let's say you're preparing for an interview about the future of work, and you want the absolute latest information. You could ask Perplexity, what are the most significant changes in workplace trends that have emerged in the last 60 days? And what do recent surveys reveal about employee preferences? Perplexity might respond with information about new hybrid work policies from major companies, recent surveys about employee satisfaction, and fresh research on productivity measurements, all with citations to sources published within the last 2 months. Then you could follow up with what criticisms have been raised about these new workplace trends, or how are different industries responding differently to these changes. Each answer builds on your understanding while keeping you current with developments that happened after your guest's last interview on the topic. Here are some advanced ways to use Perplexity for podcast prep. The Controversy Finder. Ask Perplexity, what are experts currently debating about your topic? This services recent disagreements and gives you compelling discussion points. The Timeline Builder. What major developments in this topic have happened in the last 6 months? Perfect for context setting with guests. The Perspective Gatherer. How do different stakeholders view this recent development? This gives you multiple angles to explore in your interview. The Fact Checker. Before interviewers run key claims by Perplexity, what evidence exists for the claim that this specific statement is true? You'll be prepared for any factual discussion. And a pro tip, use Perplexity's Pro features to search academic sources specifically or focus on recent publications. This elevates your research beyond the surface level of news articles. Here's what makes Perplexity essential for modern-day podcasters. In a world where information changes by the hour, static research isn't enough anymore. Your audience expects you to be informed about current developments, not just historical knowledge. Perplexity bridges that gap between what you know and what's happening right now. The key is using it strategically. Don't just ask basic questions you could Google. Ask complex, time-sensitive, multifaceted questions that would take you hours to research manually. So, your homework this week: pick a topic you're covering in an episode and spend 15 minutes having a research conversation with Perplexity. Start with one current question, then follow its suggested questions. See how much deeper you can go than traditional research methods. That's PodTools for this week. If this changes how you stay current with your research, share it with another podcaster who's tired of outdated information. Next time, we're exploring Claude AI, and how its unique strengths compare to ChatGPT for creative content planning and complex analysis. Until then, keep your research current and your sources cited. See you next time on PodTools.